Hi, good morning. Welcome to this Impact Subsea live session on YouTube. So this session today, we're going to be discussing any questions you may have regarding Impact Subsea sensors. And feel free to ask any questions you have on the right-hand side in the chat window. I'm Ben Grant, Managing Director of Impact Subsea. One question we get asked quite a lot is regarding our ISA 500 altimeter. So an altimeter here, that's the ISA 500 altimeter in titanium. This measures distance off the seabed, anywhere up to 1 millimeter accuracy level and 120 meters away from the seabed. And one question we often get asked is, how does the ISA 500 detect the seabed? So there's a number of ways it can detect it. It can operate as a kind of traditional altimeter. It can send out an acoustic pulse from the transducer, which travels down, hits the seabed and bounces back again. And it can be set to detect the first return it gets. So in the majority of cases, this will be from the seabed itself. But if you get something small, like a little fish swims by, you'll get an echo off that. It will detect the range to the fish rather than the seabed. And so for that reason, we put in a second detection mode, which is called strongest echo. And if you use the strongest echo detection mode, it sends out the acoustic pulse as before, travels through the water, hits the seabed and comes back again. But this time, the ISA 500 listens to every single echo that comes back. So it gets a large echo off the seabed, it gets any smaller echoes of a fish, or smaller echoes off of marine growth, or anything else in the water column. And it picks out the echo with the largest amplitude, which will almost certainly be the seabed, and uses that to derive distance to the seabed. Using the strongest echo detection method ensures that all the weaker returns are ignored. So if any fish swim by or you get suspended sediment in the water, the ISA 500 keeps tracking the seabed at all times. Just to point out, I showed there the ISA 500 in titanium, and it's what we call the forward-looking configuration, with the transducer at this end pointing downwards. And we also do the ISA 500 in acetal plastic, if you want a lighter weight option. It's not only less depth rating, up to 1,000 meters. We also do a right-angled version of the ISA 500, which is shown just behind me here, which has the transducer pointing out of the side of the altimeter. And that's ideal for towed assets where you want to have a more streamlined profile, have the transducer pointing straight down. So that's a kind of overview of one of the most common ISA 500 altimeter questions that we get. Feel free to ask any questions you may have in the chat feature, just on the right-hand side there. Type it in, and we'll respond to your question. Just while waiting for anyone to ask any questions they may have, another question we sometimes get asked is, does suspended sediment interfere with the ISA 500 altimeter and its ability to get readings? So this is when you've got an altimeter, and for whatever reason you've got a lot of sediment in the water. Maybe you're working alongside a trencher or some other activity which is kicking up a lot of sediment from the seabed, kind of populating the sea column with it. And traditionally, this can cause an issue with altimeters. It can send out a pulse of sound. All the little particles of the sediments cause acoustic reflections. This can cause really sporadic, noisy kind of readings coming back to your altimeter. But again, if you use the strongest echo with the ISA 500, it ignores all the small, weaker returns from the sediment and focuses just on the really large return from the seabed. And that gives you really stable performance. So you can use it in really quite dirty water with lots of suspended sediment. Okay, well, we don't seem to have many questions coming through on the right-hand side. But if you do have any other questions about our sensors, please feel free to ask them here. Or if you have a look at our website, impactsubsea.co.uk, we have a wealth of information there on all of our sensors, from data sheets, manuals, 3D models, lots of videos showing how to set up the software, set up the sensor. It's got a good wealth of information. Or you can always contact us by email at support@impactsubsea.co.uk. or you can give us a phone call as well if you want to discuss things. Okay, well, we don't have many questions coming through just now, so we'll end the live stream there. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching.